Hi everybody, how's everybody doing? It's Yvonne again today, and today I made this beautiful card, and it says love you, but you can say whatever you want, and it's quick and it's easy, and left the inside blank. Depending who I send it to, I'll put the sentiment as I need it. So let's get started, because this is a quick one, but yet it's a fun one. I'll show you how I did it. What you will need for this one is you're going to need 2 pieces of cardstock, whatever choice you have. I myself am using the die cut with a view, and it is the Country Floral Pack, and it's beautiful. It's got tons and tons of floral, country floral, and I particularly love it. I chose these two. I'm going to make it exactly the way that one is, and I chose these 2 pieces out of that. And I also chose a couple of words with the shadows, and one is you and one is love. These are my 2 dies. And I also, to make the flower, I used the Timeless Heart Flowers from Spellbinders. It is absolutely gorgeous. Look at this, and you can get this from Sandy, by the way. And it's well, at least that's where I got mine, and she may still be able to get some, but it is absolutely beautiful. It just die cuts like a charm. I'll show you right here because I've done some in advance, and I mean, I don't know if you can see that up here, but it is beautiful, 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 with all the beautiful dimension, like cutaways and little pieces that are embedded into it, embossed. Oh, another thing you're going to need to make this card that I used is a base. I used Stampin' Up! White Whisper White cardstock for my base. I love their cardstock. I find their cardstock quite... I've been using their cardstock for years. I yet to find something that I really can depend on like I do theirs. So I used a piece of Whisper White. I took an 11.5-inch piece by 8.5, and I cut it down to 5.5 by 4.25. Actually 11 by 4.25, and then I folded it in half, which made me a standard card, 5.5 by 4.25. Simple enough, isn't it? Also, another thing that I used these beautiful little pearls with a frill going around it, and I'm not sure if I got these from AliExpress or somewheres along the way. I could have bought them somewhere. Anyway, I'm not real sure where I got them. But anyway, this is what I used for the center of my floral. So let's get started. I'm going to take, I have my base cut, so now I'm going to take the first layer, and I'm going to cut this one at 1/4 inch off the side of that card. So if my card is 5.5, this is not going to work. I'm going to have to get my bigger board out. And here it's going to be at 5.25. So I'm going to cut a piece at 5.25, like this, and at 4. So like this. Keep these, you never know. That's my piece that's going to fit on top here. Now, I'm going to take another floral piece, which is this one here, and I'm going to cut that one at 5 inches. I'm going to go down another 1/4 inch, so this is going to be 5. And if you have florals that have direction, or if this top part is directional, make sure that you cut it the right size in order to view your flowers not upside down, but on the right side. Some paper has absolutely no direction. It really doesn't matter. Now, this I'm going to cut down to 375, 3.75, like this, right? So now what I have is my top layer, like that. Okay? So now I'm going to take this, and I'm going to adhere it to the back. As you can tell, it's a double-sided cardstock, so I could have very well used the other side. But for you, to end up seeing the same thing, ending up with the same thing as what I did there, I thought I'd keep it with the same paper. But you can use, oops, I must have misjudged this piece. I didn't cut it right. That's 5.5. Did I cut it at 5 1/4? May not have. May not have. Wouldn't be the first time. I tend to cut sometime and I don't pay attention. 5 1/4. Nope. I ended up cutting it at 5.5, which in a bind, I would have used the other side too. Really wouldn't matter. But my glue is there. My glue is still good. So I'm going to bring back my base. I'm going to add this on as straight as I can. It's easy when you're only 1/4 inch because you don't have a lot of give. And then I'm going to add this one. Now again, I added it flat, but if you wanted to raise your card base, you could put some dimensionals in the back and it would end up being a beautiful raised front. I chose not to do it at this point, but as a suggestion, you can do that. Yippee! I love what it's coming out like so far. Now, putting your flower together. I cut mine in advance just to save on time here. I put it through my cutter. Doesn't matter what kind of cutter you have, you're going to end up with the exact same results because it is so beautiful. Oh, I just absolutely love this. Now, what I did is I just kind of curled it with my fingers like this. That's all I did. I just added a bit of fluff to it. I still have some of my tape there to hold it down in the cutter. And you don't need big pieces of cardstock in order to do these. I use the coral something, Calypso Coral from Stampin' Up! For the paper and my cardstock, and I also use meadow, I don't know all. Mossy Meadow is a color that I used to do up the leaves and backgrounds and so forth. You don't need a big piece by 4, 4 by 5, you know, it's a good way to use up your scraps. This is exactly what I've been doing here because green is something that I use a lot of in my leaves and so forth. Okay, now I'm going to use a glue dot, which is going to be a small glue dot. Doesn't matter what brand, they all work. Matter of what you enjoy the most. Some are stickier than others, but it still all works. So you can, what I do is I end up, as you can tell here, I end up putting it like on, when I build my flowers, I always add the petal opposite to the one before. So in other words, where the opening is, I add that. See how quickly that comes together? So it wasn't real expensive, but man, can you ever do a lots of stuff. And I'll show you something else that you can do too, and go one step beyond a flower, mounted flower with these dies. I'll show you that at the end, if I don't forget. I tend to do that too. That comes with age. My brain goes so much that I totally, whoops, I didn't take. I totally enjoy doing this. This gets me going like crazy. Look at the beautiful flower. Look at that. You can't go wrong. You can leave it flat. You can bring it up. I totally enjoy it. And bear with me a second. I forgot one more mix. So I'm going to take it out now. My good old Calypso Coral. So I have this. I've had this for a long time. I haven't bought ink from Stampin' Up! I used to go to classes, as a matter of fact. We used to be a bunch of girls getting together. It was so enjoyable throughout the winter. We'd get together and just laugh and chuckle and make our things. And I don't know if I think it was more of an outing and something to do. And it was wonderful, wonderful. I miss it. Kelly moved away. Can't do that anymore there. But that's fine. I'm going to do it on my own. So, as you can tell, I took my Calypso Coral, just brushed off the edges, just to give it a little bit of, oomph, I guess, if you want to call it that. And then I'm going to take this, and I'm going to quickly put a small dot. What did I do with those? Right here. One pearl, one small dot. These aren't self-adhesive, so I had to add a little dot, which is fine. And I center it. Now, how stinking cute is that, guys? It's adorable, adorable, adorable. Love it. Okay, so now that I've done that, what I did here, as so, is I added it right to the corner. So I'm going to grab on to another dot. Whoops. Any glue dot will do, or if you don't have a glue dot, use your glue gun. Use your soft adhesive, like your water-based adhesive. It really doesn't matter. Just glue it down. Simple as that. And you can always fluff it up after, like so. That's quick enough, isn't it? Now I'm going to take my Mossy Meadow. Oops. Well, Mossy Meadow. And I'm going to take my leaves that I printed out, that cut out the same as my big fingers here. And I'm just going to take it and add a bit of Mossy Meadow on my sponge. Like so. It just kind of gives it a bit of depth, like, you know, the edges, like a leaf is never always the same color. You don't have to have dark. You could go light if you wished. I used what I had, so it was all scraps that I had. So it's a good way to use it. And all I did with this is, again, use a little dot. I put the heavier, the bigger leaves on the bottom here, and may not put it there because it won't fit in the envelope. I'll put it here. That's why I think I put it on the other one too. And then I'm going to grab on to the small leaves, because you don't want to, if you're going to hand deliver the card or make your own envelope, that's fine. But on a standard envelope, if you have something sticking out really beyond these places here, it's not going to fit in your card, and what's going to happen is you're going to have to pay extra postage if you have an oversized card. But if you don't have it, you've got no problem. So this is what I did. Now the other one, I apologize. I can still take it off and put it over here. That's how my imagination goes. There you go. I've got it exactly that same way here. Now, pardon me. Now with the the words, I have you and I have love. So love you. And I did exactly the same thing. Is I took this and I just edged the sides like this on both. Love, that's the background. You don't have to put the background if you wanted to. If you just have the words, it'll look nice too. I'll show you in a sec. So that's that one. Because you could put love you just like that on the card, and it would look good too. I just found with the background, it just made it stand out a little bit more. So I'm going to take the Calypso Coral, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to, nothing fancy, just give it a little bit of color, a little bit of a deeper color. Not totally, just on and off on the edges like this. Gets a little darker, a little lighter in the inside. And that way there it makes to be a really nice blend of colors. There you go. That quick, guys. That quick. Now, to add these on, you can do it different ways. I, for one, fortunate enough to have this little guy. It's by Xyron. It's had it forever. Or you could use a pen like this, and it'll do this exact same thing. And you just take a piece. The only thing, this part here is just a little messier, so you don't want to do it right on your counter, or at least I don't. So all I do is I just add some ink. This is a brand new one, so I'll use my already used one here, and just because the ink is already at the tip. And all you got to do is add your glue. Now if you have liquid glue, that works too. It's whatever you have. It does not need to be anything fancy, any brand fancy. Glue is glue. Some will adhere longer than others. Some adhere better than others. But as long as it adheres, that's what matters. And you know your glue, so who cares how long it stays on, right? Well, you want it to stay on for quite a while, but you know your glue. You wouldn't use it if it wasn't convenient. So, going back to this, I am a gadget girl, so I have a little bit if I can afford it, my budget allows it, I get just about anything, at least to try it. And then I make up my mind if I want to rebuy it later, once I've tried it. Because I'm just that kind of girl, curious. I'm that kind of girl. There's a song like that. Okay, so sometimes my husband's crazy, but my husband, not husband, husband crazy, but after 45 years, I think he knows me by now. He knows I have a passion for this. So, love you. Got it done. Take my paper, put it away. And what I did with this one, just to add some dimension to it, I just took out some of my dimensionals. I mean, you could use just about anything if you wanted to. You could use some of this tape, double-sided foam tape, and add it on. The dollar store sells some too. You know, a dimensional is a dimensional. Depends how thick you want it, is really what it boils down to, because the thicker the dimensional, you just have to watch for the mailing to mail out, because if you don't mail, don't really matter what you do with it, does it? But if you mail it, yes, Canadians, you all know how expensive our postal is. Those poor guys, yeah, and gals that work there. I had a friend of mine retired from there, and, you know, she's about 5 feet tall, just carrying those mail bags and whatnot, but, you know, it was her choice. But man, did she had back problems and so forth from hauling all those big packages. But do we need to have that expensive postal? I don't think so, but I suppose you got to catch up with everything else. If I wanted to make a difference, I'd become a politician, and I'm nowhere near a politician. So, love you, just like so. Now, isn't that sweet? Look how quick it took for me to make one. So it's a really quick way to make a card. Very inexpensive way, I think, you know, because it's a good way to use up your stash. Because what happens is after you've used your stash, after a while, you'll end up with a lot of leftovers. And what do you do with it? You know, some of it, which I have done, I've given them to my friends and so forth, and they've used it. But you can, you know, unless you're selling your cards, which I don't, I just totally do everything for fun. It's like the sayings that I'm sure you've seen on Facebook. It's a lot cheaper than a psychiatrist. What I'm doing here, guys, is I'm just adding a little bit of glitter on the darker flowers in the back, just in order to give it a little bit of spunk. Here we had a few more. I only have really one there. This, I could do this too, I suppose. It really doesn't matter. You can do them all if you like. But what I had done is I wanted the Love You to pop. So this is Wink Stella, and this one here is clear silver. Clear silver, or yeah, clear, just clear. Clear sparkle is what I meant to say. And just follow it like you would on a script. And it dries really quickly. And if you didn't have that, there's so many different things you could do. You could take this and you could add some on the flowers if you wanted to, but I think this is just enough. It's simple, plain, but nice. And you could take the love and emboss it with embossing powder. There's so many things you could do. The sky's the limit. The more you play with it, the more you'll experience. So this is my love card. I hope you've enjoyed this hopefully quick tutorial. And I hope you give it a try with whatever you have at home, because it's fun, it's easy, and you always have it at your fingertips. If it's a wedding, if it's an anniversary, if it's just someone you love, your parents, your sister, your brother, your husband, your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever the case is, just add the sentiment to what it feels, or like myself, a lot of times I just hand write to make it more personal, but totally up to you. Have a great day. This is Yvonne, and I'm going to sign off for now, but I will see you back hopefully real soon. Ciao.